What's up, guys? It's Saiyan here, and today I'm coming at you with a game that is still currently under development. If all goes well, it's gonna go on Kickstarter in August, and the game is called Primal Trading Card Game. Now, my good buddy Derek over from CCG Replays, he surprised me with two starter decks, the or zeroth edition decks, I guess. You can see just that. One is the Draginked Dragons deck, and the other one are the Micromons deck. That's downstairs. See how this video goes. I might also preview that deck in there. Why am I looking at this? Why am I glad to see this game? But also, of course, a little bit also vary about it. First of all, the creator of the game uh, is a massive fan of the Naruto CCG. Well, guess what? The Dragon Ball CCG is based on. The basic mechanics, of course, all come from the Naruto CCG, and they've decided to basically use the mechanics. They just call them slightly differently. Let's hope that Bandai doesn't have any of that stuff trademarked. The cards, the zeroth edition cards, the zeroth edition decks, as far as I understand, they are limited to 100 copies per deck. So there's only 100 of this one that's been made, and another 100 of each of the other three starters that you can still currently get your hands on. Um, let's have a look at the deck. Let's have a look at the cards from the perspective of somebody, myself, who still very actively plays Dragon Ball CCG. Obviously, Dragon Ball CCG didn't evolve to the point where Naruto CCG has evolved. And as far as I understand, these cards have been tested against Naruto decks. Um, when I read some of these cards, I was like, well, that stuff is just absolutely broken. But obviously, how these things tend to go, if the whole game is broken, then nothing is broken. And I use the term broken very loosely here, by the way, just to be completely honest. I think it's cool. I definitely like the Draginked deck more than the Micromons. The Micromons very much reminds me of Digimon kind of stuff. Um, but the dragging stuff is yes, it's much closer to my heart. So we'll start with characters, then we will go into abilities, which of course would be the equivalent of the techniques that we use in Dragon Ball CCG, and then finally we will look at the strategy cards, which are a little bit different from events, because of course events in Dragon Ball CCG, they either stay in play indefinitely or they have a time limit on them. These are almost like sorceries in Magic that you only get to play them in your strategy phase. A couple of them will stay in play. There's a few, but most of them are single use. So let's go through the warriors then. Starting with turn zeros, got two copies of Dragging Richie, which immediately is a 3000, so the equivalent of your King Cold. And when you play it in the strategy phase, you can activate the effect, reveal top 6 cards of your deck. You can pick a Draginked warrior from there with a turn cost of 1 or less, and you can discard this character, Richie, and in that case, you can put into play that warrior, that Dragon warrior you selected. You shuffle the rest back into your deck. So immediately you could go from a turn 0 to a turn 1 warrior right at the beginning of your game. That would be super huge in Dragon Ball. Now, if we just kind of look at the possibilities that we can find in the deck, we have most of the warriors in this deck that are turn 0 or turn 1. There's only a few that go to a turn cost of 2 or above. So that's your potential to hit off Richie. That's pretty ridiculous. And one thing I forgot to say is that same as in Naruto, in Primal you get 50 card decks rather than the 40 we're used to. So that kind of feels to me like maybe it's a little bit too much, but that again is me, the Dragon Ball player, talking. The stats are really cool on this Richie card. It's also giving you a plasma chi, but you don't charge chi here the way how you charge chi in Dragon Ball. You can at any point during your strategy phase charge chi, but you do that from your hand. And indeed, some cards even have what they call hand cost. So if that has a number that's higher than 0, or some card maybe changes that to a higher number, then that means you have to uh, charge a card from your hand into your essence, is what it's called in this game. And that's the cost of playing the card. And then basically what you then use cards from your essence from, you will have some effects on your warriors and basically your abilities, which would be again our techniques in Dragon Ball. So Dragon Richie, very good start. Now this is supposed to be a rare card. Mind you, rarity doesn't really matter at this point because you just get the pre-made decks, so they all come with the same cards, and you find the list of cards at the back of the box. So moving on, we go into waifu territory, Draginked Kamiko. Another 0-cost warrior. I've in Dragon Ball a 0-3 support 0-cost warrior simply doesn't exist. You got a good number of 0-2s. She comes down as a 0-3, 0-1 if she's injured. Still very, very, very powerful. And her effect is valid. When this character is put in play, you can discard 1 card from your hand. In that case, search your deck for 1 dragon character with a turn cost of 2 or less. So immediately, both of our turn zeros so far we've looked at will give you some form of a search, will give you some form of a basically a setup ability, which of course we only saw in set 5 in Dragon Ball realistically, especially with turn zeros. So really, really strong so far. Now this deck is predominantly plasma based, and you will see that many cards will be double chi, a double color, dual color, but it's still predominantly based around plasma. Another turn zero, Dragging Sophie, yet again 2 copies of. She's a 1-1-1-0, much less powerful than the previous 2 we've looked at, but her effect is very good though. Strategy valid. Reveal an ability card from your hand and move it to the bottom of your deck. In that case, draw a card. So this kind of gives you what the set 5 Kami gives you, but like on steroids basically, because you will be able to do that once during your turn, once during your opponent's turn, and again you just keep cycling the cards through. Any expensive ability or any ability you might not be able to play, just chuck it away, draw a card, get that deck moving. We also get 2 copies of Dragging Nanami, another turn 0 warrior with 1-0-1-0-1 stats. But she's very powerful as well. When this character is put in play, look at your opponent's hand, select 1 revealed ability card and move it to their essence area. So it's basically a non-play discard an ability from your opponent's hand. Mind you, it does go to their chi, but yeah, it's still, ultimately, it's still discard. What I do not really understand is why she doesn't have a valid, but she does have a valid on an ETB effect. I haven't seen any card that would stop ETB effect, so realistically, I don't know why she needs the valid, but I'm sure that these are just like minor observations. Moving on to our next turn 0, we got a lot of these. We got 3 copies of Draginked Zala. She's a 1-2-0-1. Again, not as powerful stats as we will have seen on the first 2-0 drops, but she's got a good valid ability as well. When one of your Draginked or Dragon characters use an ability, you may draw one card. And what's cool about this one is that this is basically a continuous effect and valid. So whenever this happens, you will draw a card. Basically means you get Zala down anytime you play any one of these cards, because all your warriors will be either Draginked or Dragon in this deck, they immediately replace themselves. And she is a 1/2, so she's a really good support warrior as well. We still haven't quite finished. Yeah, we have finished with the 0 drops. We go to 1 drop territory, and immediately we run into a 4/0/4/0 Dragging Sasaki. Just ridiculous. Again, very strong. You know, you don't even lose stats even if he gets injured. And again, he's got a floating effect. Cards in your hand are not affected by your opponent's effects, but it's not valid. So if Sasaki gets injured, then your opponent can then again affect cards in your hand. Solid, absolutely solid warrior though. I mean, those stats are ridiculously good. I mean, if I think about any there's two 4/0s in Dragon Ball, the set 5 Nappa and the set 5 Yajirobe, and that's it, nothing else. And even those guys are, they're both 1/0s when they get injured. This guy is just a solid, rock solid. I mean, imagine that you might start a game, you can't attack anyway, get Kamiko out, second turn you get, or your first actual turn, turn 0, turn 1, you get Sasaki out, you can swing with a team of 7 on turn 1. That is, that's big. That's big. And with all the potential surge stuff as well that you can get off your turn 0s. Okay, now we go into our first symbiote. So symbiotes are these dragons basically that are Draginked guys can transform into. So you can see there Symbio Ryu says transform Dragging Zala. So we just looked at Zala right here. Just like evolution in Dragon Ball, Draginked Zala can be replaced with Symbio Ryu from your hand, does not count as a deployment. And as far as I understand, you can do this basically as soon as you play Zala, you can immediately go into Ryu. You can obviously sidestep if you got a particular guy that normally you would have. I think you still have to pay the hand cost. You still have to pay the turn cost, but it could be useful that you get like an ETB effect off, and then you go into a transform. And again, as I said, that's not a deployment, or you can just deploy these guys straight away, exactly how you could do in Dragon Ball CCG. You don't have to evolve from a Piccolo Junior to an adult Piccolo. You can just play that Piccolo when the turn cost is there. And this guy is a 3/1/1/0. Not as strong as our previous guy, Sasaki. But it says at the start of your turn, if you control 2 or more characters with an air element, that will be that symbol there, you can discard the top 2 cards of your deck and you draw 1 card. Now, there are some decks that take advantage of you having more cards in your discard pile, so immediately that works for that. And if nothing else, you draw an extra card, so that is also pretty good. Besides that, it's a fairly average warrior. Let's go back to dragging, guys. This is Nadia, dragging Nadia. She's a machine female, by the way, for a bit of flavor for you guys. And she is a 4/1/1/0, so again, very, very, very strong turn 1 stats, certainly for a lead warrior. And she has a 2 plasma cost strategy effect. Again, you can use that during your turn, during your opponent's turn. Place a zap coin on one of your opponent's characters with a turn count of 2 or less. And these characters, the zap coin will grant them the effect that says valid during your strategy phase, burn 3 cards, which means this is ridiculous because basically they have to mill 3 cards Uh, Mind you, it says you choose when you burn it during your strategy phase. It doesn't say at the beginning of your strategy phase, so you could certainly do everything you want to do. Search your deck, draw your cards, do whatever, try and get the cards out that you don't want to mill. But at some point during your strategy phase, you have to burn 3 cards. Um, it's it's so nasty. It's unreal. Like, I haven't really seen any cards yet that would actually put cards back from your discard to the bottom of your deck, like Old Kai or Journey of Adventure or Great Saiyaman or Regaining the Planet, the Wish in Dragon Ball. We do have a couple of options to dodge the fears. I haven't seen any solution against Nadia. And the most disgusting part is that the effect is not removed if you somehow get to remove Nadia. No, the effect is on the coins. But again, I haven't really seen anything yet that removes coins in the game either. So I hope that these things for a turn one warrior, I think this is this is nasty. And again, as far as I understand, because that just says strategy now, I don't know if they have changed. I think I've seen attacker strategy and defender strategy. So I think you can still technically, as long as you got that 2 plasma chi, you can do it once per strategy phase, not just your own. Correct me if I'm wrong. And we have Draginked Petunia, our final turn 1 cost warrior. Really cool art, by the way. I must emphasize that so far the art on these cards, like the fact that I'm just looking at these cards, they're amazing. They're really, really, really nice. Worth every single PayPal transaction or however these images were commissioned. Yeah, worth it. Anyway, her stats are 3-2-2-0, still really, really good for a turn 1 warrior. And when your opponent burns any cards, if any of those cards is a non-character card, likely, they move an additional card to their discard pile. So, so these two obviously work really well together. Nadia giving out the burn uh, zap coins, and Petunia changing that from a 3 to a 4, most likely. Just gross, really gross. That's why I'm interested in the deck, of course. Okay, let's move on to turn 2 warriors. We start with Draginked Izumi. Turn 2, she's a 4-2-2-0. By the way, I have no idea what those really do. I have not really read any proper explanation about them. I truthfully, I've only flicked through the rulebook, but again, I haven't read. There's probably going to be some uh, strategy or ability cards that refer to those things, but yeah, I don't know. So what she does is, if this character was put in play due to camouflage, camouflage is um, basically some cards have camouflage, which allows them to be deployed from your essence, from your chi area. Now, she doesn't have a built-in camouflage, but I'm sure that there is a card somewhere. I think I've seen a strategy on her ability that makes this possible. So you need to rely on a 2-card combo here. Randomly move 1 card from your opponent's hand to the bottom of their deck, then they draw 1 card. Eh, okay. Well, we just saw a card that basically dishes out mill 3 with attack to make that mill 4 each turn. You put that on 2 warriors, then they have to mill 6, maybe 8 a turn. This is nothing really compared to that. Then we got Balthazar Symbio Balthazar. If you still remember Dragging Sophie, one of the big boob waifus, she can transform into Balthazar. If this card was transformed into, it gains this effect, attacker strategies. I told you there is attacker and defender strategy, so you can do that disgusting zap coin every single turn. Reveal the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck and hand. Discard one of the revealed. So reveal the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck, and they have to reveal their entire hand. Discard one of the revealed cards and return 2 cards of your choice to the top of their deck in any order. Then return the remaining cards to your opponent's hand. So this is a bit of a, well, it obviously gives you hand control to a really good degree, and it also gives you knowledge of what they are going to draw, and you can absolutely F them over for the upcoming 2 turns unless they have an ability to shuffle their deck. This on a turn 2, which is a 5-0-1-0 already, that you can get into with transform. You don't even have to well, if you want the effect, you have to transform into it. That seems very strong again. Again, this is a lot of hand control. Then you obviously mill their deck. Um, Maybe the return 2 cards doesn't really matter that much because then they just gonna mill those cards if you put some rubbish up there. So there is, some leeways to get around it to a point, but you can pretty much shape most of their hand with those top 3 cards that they reveal. So yeah, very strong, very strong. And then we got, for the rest, we got single copies. So we got Symbiote Galileo. It transforms from Draginked Kamiko, which was the other big booby lady. 5-2-4-0. So again, absolutely brilliant for lead warrior. If this card was transformed into you, you may put in play one dragon character from your essence, or move one dragon character from your essence to your hand. So one thing that's really cool, I actually did check in with the creator of the game, is that you don't have that. So you can deploy whatever you transform from. So if you got a Symbiote Halil in play, you can then replay a Dragon Kamiko. But then obviously if you set up your hand correctly, and you can charge from your hand before you deploy in the strategy phase, so just discard whatever what you want to play. And dragon characters you're probably looking at usually will be a 0 or a 1 turn 1 cost, maybe. We got that 1 or 2 floating turn 2 dragon guys, but that will immediately give you a warrior advantage, so that's really big. Again, anybody who plays Dragon Ball CCG, you know how much you gotta work to get any put in play effects running there. They're very difficult, and most of them don't even last. So this just basically says pretty much put a turn 1 or turn 2 warrior into play. So of course you're gonna put one in play that's got a massive support value, ideally a 2 or even a 3, as you could see we got even those, and then immediately you got a team of 8 that you can swing with. So that's pretty cool. Then we got the super rare, 3 dots down there, Symbiote Raikiri, and our chap Dragon Richie transforms into this dragon. Again, beautiful art, really cool, absolute massive thumbs up for the art. You can put in play this card from your discard pile by removing from the game one Dragon Richie from your discard pile. When this character is put in play, search for an ability card with Dragon in its name. How cool is that? That is worthy of being a super rare. I totally agree. Really good stats. Obviously, Richie is supposed to be one of the key characters in the lore, I would assume. If you give them the super rare symbiote, then probably is. And you're very likely gonna have that, or you're very likely gonna have a Dragon Richie in your discard. I mean, if you just use its ability to get a turn 0, another turn 0, turn 1 out, then you have that guaranteed. And as I said, you don't have to technically transform into Richie. So, and it also replaces itself because you search your deck for a dragon ability. Very cool, very cool. Still turn 4, we have Symbiote Galileo. Really strong stats, 6-2-2-0 for a 4 cost. Previous guy was a turn 3, so we moved on to turn 4 territory. This one transforms from Dragging Sasaki. If this character was put in play by transformation, draw 1 card for up to every 10 cards in your opponent's deck. So this is a bit counterintuitive because, of course, with the Zap coins, you want to mill them, but if you don't get the Zap coin stuff out, then draw a bunch of cards with Galileo. You're probably going to be looking at drawing turn 4. If your opponent doesn't do much digging or self-milling, and if you don't do any, you're definitely looking at drawing 3 cards of this, which is, that's big. And we got a second effect. When a dragon character is put in play, your opponent burns 3 cards. Boom! There you go. Milling again. That's yeah, that's nasty. That's 2 very strong burn cards that we've looked at now. Okay, we got Symbiote. Oh god, Astrophanes. Transformed from Draginked Hoshiko, which is not in this deck. I actually had a look. That Draginked character is currently not available, so you have to check out the August Kickstarter. 7040. That's like the future Trunks from set 5. That's a 704030. I don't know. But it's on par with that, and that is a super strong character. If this character was put in play with Transformation, discard the top 5 cards of your opponent's deck. That would be great, but we don't have access to Dragon Toshiko. And attacker, ability valid. Ability is the action step, the action step in Dragon Ball TCG. So during battle, there is a step where you can play all your abilities. And for 2 Plasma Essence, target an opposing character and make the target a standby character. I do believe a standby character means that they are basically sent back to the deployment area. So that is the effect of General Blue or DOTC. Very strong. Very strong. Now, mind you, I must say that DOTC is a turn 4 technique. It will cost you 3, any 3 type of chi, and that's not on a stick. That's a one-time technique, and also remember that it's limited to 1 per deck. We got Symbiote Quetzal, our first turn 5, and the first warrior which actually has a hand cost as well. That's also very much the same balancing that is the case in Dragon Ball CCG as well. Turn 0s to turn 4s, they don't have a chi cost. Turn 5 onwards, they do have a chi cost. So, that is obviously in there to make sure that your really, really powerful top end guys are somewhat balanced a little bit more. But this guy is ridiculous, though. It's an 8200, so you obviously don't want it to get damaged. But transforms from Nadia, which is our Zap girl, and it's got a really powerful effect. If this character was put in play with Transformation, move up to 2 cards from your opponent's battle rewards to your hand. Now, a little bit of clarification here. Your opponent's battle rewards are the damage that you take. So once you've taken 10 damage, that means your opponent will have 10 battle rewards, but those are your cards. You're not taking your opponent's cards into your hand. You basically heal yourself for 2 cards when you play this card through Transformation. Not only heal yourself for 2 cards, but you also basically draw those 2 cards up. So you're 2 cards up, and you've healed yourself too. And of course, anybody who plays this game, you know that sometimes it can be very difficult just to get in a couple of damage. But yeah, it's really, really, really strong card. Probably that's why it's a 0/0 if it's damage, but you need to get this guy into play with Transformation, because otherwise it's a realistically big, big wasted opportunity. And our final warrior is another 5 cost 1 hand cost 5/5/4/1. This is the first really good high cost support warrior we see. That 5/5 is really good. Transforms from Petunia, which I believe we saw right after. Yeah, there you go. There she is, the one I said the first time that the art is really cool. If this character was put in play with transformation, this is a common theme, of course, that's the whole point. Move one of your opponent's characters to your opponent's hand. So, pretty neat removal right there. And then play the other one that reveals their hand and put that one back on top of that. Yeah, you get it. Nice little combos there. Okay, so this is it for the warriors. Let's move on to strategies. So again, these strategies are, I guess, similar to our events, but they can only be played in the strategy phase. Let's start with Flight Tag. You can play from turn 1 onwards, will cost you 1 from your hand, and the effect is during this turn, only flight, winged, or levitate characters can be sent to battle, and flight characters gain +2/+2 for the turn. So you play it, and then it goes into your discard. I believe it goes into your discard. Because of course in Dragon Ball everything goes to your chi unless it specifically says that it goes to the discard pile. That is the only thing I still need to pick up. That if a warrior dies in this game in Primal, they go to your discard. So what this is a finisher. If you really look at it, this is a finisher because the likelihood of, I mean, pretty much certainly all your dragon characters have flight, winged, or levitate. I think they all have flight. And you give them all +2/+2, and your opponent is basically not going to be able to block. This is a finisher. I mean, this can net you about 6 battle rewards. So if you, yeah, just wow. Okay, Draginked Promise, another turn 1 hand cost. Target up to 2 of your characters, and the effect is move up to X cards from your opponent's discard pile to their essence, and draw 1 card, then distribute X number of +1/+1 coins on the target. So that's pretty cool. This is actually maybe a little bit over cautious design, but I do like it because it's not broken. For you to basically be able to get X number of growth coins plus draw a card, so it will replace itself. And you can, of course, divide these +1/+1 counters between up to 2 of your characters. And you give your opponent, how brave are you? Uh, give your opponent one extra essence, 2, maybe 3. You basically set them up to potentially be able to use more of their effects, play more of their abilities, whatever. We got 2 copies of Draginked Intimidation. This is a really strong card again for this particular archetype. Turn 1 hand cost. So now you can see that it says they're permanent and unique. So permanent means it stays in play until removed, and unique, I'm assuming, means that you can only have one of this in play. That would make sense. So we have a permanent effect. During your strategy phase, reveal the top card of your deck. If the reveal card has a plasma or a fire element, which is probably, yeah, plasma is like at least 80% of your deck, move it to your hand. In that case, discard 1 card from your hand, otherwise return it and discard the top 2 cards of your deck. So the likelihood that you're going to hit something is extremely high. And yes, you discard 1 card from your hand, but again, if that's something that you can then utilize from your discard, that is, it's not a big loss. It again is really good to make your deck move a little bit quicker, and it's an effect that you don't have to activate if you don't want to. But discard, Dragonic Palace. I've already looked at this card. I'm gonna play this in every single deck. This is a staple 3 of, for my playstyle, definitely. You can again play it from turn 1, hand cost of 1, permanent 3. It stays in play for 3 turns. It's unique, so you can only have 1 out. But check this effect out. During your strategy phase, you can discard one card from your hand. In that case, activate one of the two effects. Now, the first effect is only really good for a predominantly dragon deck, which says move a dragon character from your discard pile to your hand. So you go up one card in your hand. Or discard the top card from your deck, move the top card from your deck to your essence, and draw one card. So this is basically your Dr. Velo for this game, just to be clear. Yes, you discard one from your hand, discard one from the top of your deck. Is that really a big problem if you can then benefit from that? No, not at all. Move the top card of your deck to your essence, so you charge an extra chi, and you still draw a card. So you spin the deck. You know, I think it's really good, really powerful. Just gives you more options. I think with that second effect, this will probably be a 3-up in all my decks until I find something better to just spin the wheels. We also get 2 copies of Draginked Duality. This strategy is again a turn 1 hand cost card effect. Search your deck for a dragon character and move it to your hand. If you have a dragon character in play, you may search for a dragon that has any of your in-play dragon characters' name and its transform requirements instead. If you build a dragon deck, this is a 3-of. Absolutely a 3-of. Gets you what you need, sets you up. You got your dragon guy in play. Get the dragon it transforms into, basically, with no questions asked. So, yeah, 3-of. Really good archetype support card. Then we got 2 Dragonic Beginnings. This is our first turn 2 strategy with a hand cost of 1, which seems to be the norm for most of these strategies. Very straightforward. Effect, remove from the game 3 dragon characters from your deck, and then shuffle your deck, and then draw 3 cards. Boom. Well, a deck is fully loaded with dragons. Now, obviously, you might want to put in a few sacrificial lamb dragon cards in your deck so you can draw 3. Wow, draw 3. There's 1 card in Dragon Ball that draws you 3 cards that actually says draw 3. No, sorry, there's 2 cards. One of them. No, 1. I thought Super Gravity Rune draws you 3. No, it only draws you 2. Yeah, the only one is the Wish, regaining. Not regaining. I will show you guys. This is the only card that draws you 3. Jesus, where is it? Revival of the Earth, which is a wish, and you're only going to be able to play it maybe once a game. So would I discard 3 Dragon Warriors from my deck to draw 3? Yes, every game, 3 times. Or imagine if you run a completely different deck and you just put in 6 dragons, in case you get it, and then you just draw 3 cards. Wow. Yeah. Again, this probably is gonna make it into a lot of decks that aren't dragons. Right. Last 2 strategies. We get Camouflage Training. Turn 2, 1 hand cost, draw 2 cards. While this card is in your essence area, your dragon character's cards in your essence gain camouflage. So this is the one that will allow you to play that turn 2 Draginked Izumi. And it kind of makes sense because she's on the art of that strategy. So that's a good little link there. I like that a lot. That's your 2-card combo. Draw 2 is massive on its own. And it gives you even more. And then this card, Pentadragon Summon. Turn 5, no hand cost. Remove from the game all dragon character cards from your deck and give your opponent 2 battle rewards. That's pretty big. Just, direct damage. If you removed from the game 5 or more dragon character cards, move this strategy card into your field as a dragon character with the following power 9/9, healthy and injured, with a turn cost of 5. So, wow, jeez. Not only will you have given 2 damage to your opponent, if then this will transform into a dragon and you do swing with a 9/9 even without a support, a 9/9 on its own is ridiculous. That we don't have any warriors in Dragon Ball that would have 9 on it, I think, besides Gogeta. Yeah, I think even Gogeta's an 8. What was Gogeta's stats? Yeah, Gogeta's the only one. He's a 9/4. And he's a turn 7 fusion, so that's a turn 5 card. Ooh. All right, let's look at the abilities. 2 copies of Brute Strength. This seems to me that it can go into pretty much any deck because it doesn't have a specific chi cost requirement, and it gives the user +5/+5 until the end of the turn. You can discard 1 card at the end of the turn to move this card to your hand from your discard. So +5/+5. This is basically a this is basically a +5/+5 that any deck can run. It's your powerful heritage where every single warrior in the game is a Saiyan, and it doesn't matter whether they're lead warriors or support warriors, they will get the +5. Why would you not put this into every single deck? Explosive Retort. And this actually has the artwork from the kind of like the Plagueis. They're called the Plagueis. They look really cool, like Plague Doctor kind of design. And again, doesn't have a specific chi cost, so you can play with anything. During your strategy phase, you can discard this card from your hand to move 3 cards from the bottom of your deck to your discard pile. And the requirement for the ability's user is a turn cost of 4 or more. Target up to 2 characters with a turn count less than the user, and you give 1 damage to both of those targets. It's really powerful. It's just really, 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 really powerful. Yeah, there's a Plagueis warrior I've looked at which gets a buff if you have 10 cards in your discard pile. Now this is probably going to happen 1 in every 5,000 games, but if you do start with that warrior and 3 of these in your hand, then you can immediately get that buff. Yeah, you know me. Transformative Clash. This again doesn't have any particular chi requirement, just pay 3 essence. And the requirement is transformation, so the user must have transformation, I guess. Target every character opposing the user, every character opposing the user, so the whole team that's opposing the user of this ability. Discard the user, then give 1 damage to any target with a higher turn count, and give 2 damage to any target with a turn count less than or equal to the user. So basically this is gonna, by you sacking your warrior, you give what we would call an outstanding victory before even the resolution of the battle. So yeah, you're probably gonna win that if you do this. Especially if you do it with a support warrior. We get a copy of Flight Focus. Now we need to pay a plasma and an air to get this going. Requirement is for the warrior to be winged. Target is every character in the user's team and the team battling against the user that do not have winged, levitate, or flight. And the effect is make the target standby characters. So got another Dignity of the Conqueror. Then we have Draconian Showers, where you either pay a fire and X or a plasma and X. Requirement is a dragon with a turn cost of 4 or more. Target is X number of your opponent's characters, and the effect is give 1 damage to the target. If X is 2 or more, is if X is more than 2, so if you pay at least 3, then you draw a card. Pretty good, but we just saw so many broken stuff that doesn't even phase me that much. We got Dragon Breath. Pay a fire and 2 or a plasma and 2. Requirement is a dragon. Target opposing back characters. Multiples, so okay, can be 1, can be 2. And the effect is remove the target from the game. Okay, so does this mean that if my opponent's team has 2 supporting characters, I can remove them both from the game? But I mean, it's ridiculous for just 1. Yeah, I mean, just checking here that our first our first dragon comes down turn 1. And you can discard from your hand, that's fine. It's not that expensive. I mean, it's 3. Surely it's only 1. It says back characters. I mean, if okay, that might be extremely broken. Even if it removes 1, is really good, but if it removes all of the back characters, then yeah. For 3, just completely remove 2. Why would you even play cards that damage if you can just remove them from play? I mean, 3 is not even that expensive. Dragon Plasma Cannon. This is another ultra rare, or super rare, with 3 dots down there. Requirement dragon plus turn count of 3 or more. Target 1 opposing character. And move the target face up to your battle rewards. The user cannot be sent to battle next turn. So again, just a straight up removal. Yes, obviously you won't be able to attack with the user next turn if there is a next turn. That's always the key. And my problem with many of these floating effects is that you need to be really good at any game to remember this a turn later. I play a lot of games, and whilst I often remember that there's a floating trigger, I'm certainly not necessarily going to be immediately offering that information to my opponent. It's their job to remember it. But it's still, nevertheless, that's just really powerful. Yeah. And finally, we have 2 copies of Draginked Charge, which will either cost you a plasma and 1 or an air and 1. The requirement is dragon again. Pretty much all the abilities will have to be played by a dragon. And reveal the top card of your deck until you reveal a strategy or ability, or your deck is depleted. During this turn, the user gets +2/+2 for every card revealed. Move up to 2 of the revealed cards to your hand, then move the remaining cards to your essence. Yeah, so, wow, okay, it's a bit of a dice roll here, but let's say you reveal 5, and your 6th card is a strategy or an ability. Then you've just given the user +10/+10 for 2 essence. You can also then just selectively pick 2 cards up out of that, and the rest goes into your essence. So then you can just probably do the same again. I just wonder, until you reveal a strategy or ability or your deck is depleted. So if the last card revealed, will the last card revealed count? Yes, it will, because you have to reveal that. So if the 5th card you reveal is a strategy or an ability, let's say another Draginked Charge, just for the sake of maybes, then you've just given the user +10/+10. You will pick up the other dragging charge, and let's say a warrior, obviously, because you have to hit 4 warriors to get to the fifth one, which will be your strategy or ability. You put 3 cards into your essence, so you can absolutely play the next dragging charge and do the same thing, and end up probably giving that guy maybe another +10/+10. What? Okay, this is of course my opinion. Playing Dragon Ball CCG, we only seen 5 sets, but with these cards, they're very powerful. Yeah, I of course have to take into consideration that this is zeroth edition 0. So definitely, hopefully, some of these cards will maybe be balanced a little bit more. But if not, then there's always ban list. There's always restricting cards, doing a number of funky things. Um, haven't had a chance to play Primal yet, but obviously being very familiar with basic, the basic gameplay, I believe that without even trying them, I am at least somewhat certified to give you guys my initial opinion. I've looked at these cards before, but reading them out loud just kind of gives you that element of wow. When you read it out loud and wow, that card is really strong compared to my little Dragon Ball bubble. But then again, remember guys, if every card's broken, then nothing's broken. Um, I think the art's amazing. I know that the gameplay is amazing. I absolutely adore that very strategic um, way how Dragon Ball CCG plays, and obviously this is based on the Naruto type of the initial the OG method, not the Dragon Ball method that I play with. But it's not difficult to make the transition. I will leave the website and the subscription of the video below. Do go and check it out, guys. Um, because it is a cool game. It is compatible with Naruto. It is. You can make it compatible with Dragon Ball CCG if you throw in another 10 cards into your deck. And yeah, let's see where this goes. I will definitely be checking out the Kickstarter in August, and maybe cover Micromons as well. See what you guys think. Anyway, up until next time, guys. Let's sign out. Peace.